Backpack Broadcasting continues to bring you the best original sports content, but now you can get more of the content you love. For as little as $3 a month, you can get access to bonus content, including behind-the-scenes footage and interviews from the Sports Walk, Sideline Stories, or the Ain't Hard to Tell podcast. All this exclusive content comes via Patreon. There are tiered levels of patronage, and each Backpack Broadcasting patron receives exclusive perks. Your support helps Backpack Broadcasting create more of the original content that you love. Visit Backpack Broadcasting's Patreon page and become a patron today. All right, it is the Ain't Hard to Tell podcast, episode 38. I don't know what athlete number we're going to go with. We have
I went through this. I went through this right before. So right before we get started, we always pick, an athlete to tribute the number, so to speak. 37, we had Sean Alexander. This time, 38, not really a strong group. We had
No, it's not. Definitely not.
We had Eric Gagne. We had Carlos Zambrano. We got my guy Kwame Brown. We got Rick Aguilera. And we got Eugene Daniel. You're a Colts fan, right?
See, our guest might like this, and we'll introduce our guest.
Yes.
Our guest is Michael Grady. So I'm saying this to him, and really am one of my favorite sideline reporters in the NBA. Also, people know me. I've done some sideline reporting myself, so I always respect the work of other sideline reporters. He is a sideline reporter for the Brooklyn Nets, working for the YES Network. Also a host, a reporter/host. He does that as well, too. Emmy Award-winning sports reporter, and he's a radio host who does a show on 107.5 FM and 1070 The Fan in Indianapolis, where he worked before. And you were also from, correct?
Yeah, from Indianapolis.
You're from Indy, and you're before Michael Grady. Mike, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, good to be here with you guys.
Yeah, bro.
Good to be here with you guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Glad to have you here.
So Eugene Daniel, are we rolling with that?
No, you don't want to roll with Eugene Daniel.
Damn.
You don't want to. Good people.
That was a little before my time. So I'm kind of deferring to you guys on this.
I was going to just defer completely to Mike on this. I was
All
like, he's an indie guy and a Colts guy.
His name actually came up this week on the radio show because we were talking about toast cornerbacks. And he was like,
so he's a Quentin
one
Jammer?
of the original.
He's a Quentin Jammer?
Yeah, and he played for a long time too. But yeah, he was like the original toast. We used to.
Are you ever surprised at guys that played for that long when they was constantly getting burnt?
I think it's kind of revisionist history because he was a decent cornerback.
Right.
But as he got older, I mean, it's just tough. It's just tough. But yeah, he played for a long time. You see a lot of guys like that. Yeah. Play for a while, and it's like, how? You know what I mean?
Well, Kwame Brown is another one. He was in the league for 12 years.
Yeah, and that's it. Things have shifted. If you were a big dude, you could play in the league for a long time.
That's true.
Nowadays, Roy Hibbert, he's bagging groceries or something like that nowadays. So and Roy was like giving the Miami Heat the business a handful of years ago. So back in the day, a guy like Kwame Brown, you could last for a little while. Nowadays, can't do it.
If you don't have the skill set to play in today's game,
it's not gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen. So you came from Indy, to Brooklyn. I'm a Brooklynite. I'm only Brooklynite here, so I'm a Brooklynite. But you came from Indy, and now tell us about your start in that journey, and what it was like coming from Indy to
No, it was radio started everything for me, and so I was doing radio in high school, and then was doing radio in college. And at first, I wanted to do the music thing. And then it was a case of, man, I love the music so much. If I'm in the studio and I'm playing the same songs over and over again, you know how it is in radio. You got to play the hits. You got to play them over and over again. I thought I was going to fall out of love with the music. So I love sports, too, and that's when I started to shift gears towards sports. I went to Vincennes, which is just south of Indianapolis. Got out of there, was sending resumes everywhere, and I got a shot at a station called WIBC. Handful of years later, they turned it into an all-sports station. Ooh. We didn't have a budget for like a voiceover guy, so I was the voiceover guy. The Pacers were looking for a PA announcer at that same time. They heard my voice on the radio. They said, hey, you interested in coming over here? Started working with the Pacers. My first year doing PA was Paul George's rookie year with the Pacers.
Okay.
And so, and then a couple years after that, I got my own radio show at the sports station. A few years later, sports anchor at one of the local TV stations took a job in Miami. Another sports guy took that job and left an opening right at the time that the NBA playoffs were about to start. And they said, well, this guy works for the Pacers. He looks okay. He's got a voice. maybe he can work with us for like just this playoffs run and see how he does. If it's not that bad, okay, good. We get through it and that's it. So it was the last season that Paul George, Lance Stevenson, David West group was together. And they
was
beat
that the year they beat the Knicks in the second round?
No, it was after that. It was after that. Yeah, that was Atlanta in the first round. Almost got beat by Atlanta. Then beat the Wizards, and then they lost to Miami Heat.
Still part of a good run.
Yeah, it was a good run. And so I got a lot of TV time. They liked what I did, and got a contract after that, and did that for 3 years. Did the radio show, Pacer games, TV for 3 years. And then my TV contract was coming up, and I was talking to my agent about, hey, let's see what's out there. And the Nets job just kind of came, and it was a no-brainer. It was a no-brainer to kind of work. It's kind of crazy. You go to New York. New York's all about the hustle and doing a whole bunch of jobs and wearing a whole lot of different hats.
Yes.
I was working 7 days a week. In Indianapolis and doing so many different things. And so coming to New York, it's almost like a vacation. I this summer, man, I haven't done, like, I'm going crazy. What am I, it's like, so it's amazing, man. I've always loved New York and really fallen in love with Brooklyn. And so it's been amazing.
You said the right things there about Brooklyn.
Right.
I ain't gonna front. I'm not gonna lie to you. You know what I mean? If I didn't like it, I wouldn't say it. You know what I mean? But it felt.
I might have to kick you off the podcast.
It felt comfortable right away.
It's funny because I remember your Indianapolis post, like, on Twitter, and you were putting your goodbye and everything.
Yeah,
there were people
yeah.
commenting like, "Oh, now there's 20 job openings in Indianapolis now that you left." Because you were talking about doing everything. PA and everything. So that's crazy.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Did you grow up a Pacer fan?
Yeah. So Reggie Miller and the Knicks, and hated the Knicks growing up, man. And so
I did not do that on purpose.
No. But we can talk about that because I don't even know if I've really had a conversation with somebody who grew up as a Pacer fan and me as a Knicks fan, and what it must have been like at that time. We had great series.
We had the Bulls fan not that long ago.
We did. So we did have that.
So,
but
you got one beating already.
Those series, Mike, were so tense all the time. Yeah. And the energy and the hate, whether it was at Market Square or at the Garden. Yeah. And for me, one of my worst sports memories, and you probably know where I'm going, because I'm sure it's a great one for you.
Oh, yeah.
When Reggie Miller scored the
8 points in
13 seconds or whatever.
Yeah, 8.7.
And gave Spike the choke sign. And then the Knicks lost that series on Patrick Ewing missing the finger roll layup when he could have dunked it when he blew past Rick Smith. I will share this publicly on this podcast. I remember the day. I remember sitting on a Sunday afternoon and watching the game with my dad, and I went into my bedroom and shed a few tears.
Hey, that makes me feel good, man. I'm going to use that on the radio show in Indy real soon, man. I'm going to use that real soon. And I hated the Knicks with the passion, man. And I look back on it now. I don't know if you do, but I look on it, with nostalgia.
Me too, yeah.
And I have mad respect for those guys. So, like, when Oakley was going through his thing with Dolan or whatnot, I was like real upset. I was like, "Come on, man! Oakley's like that dude.
Because you respected how same thing. I have the same level of respect.
Like things have changed in the league.
I hated Reggie Miller, but it was nice to have those teams and players that you hated. I'm sure it was the same for you.
Yeah, no doubt. I hated Anthony Mason. I didn't like John Starks, obviously, headbutting Reggie, all that type of stuff. But you know what? If I was a Knicks fan, John would be my favorite dude.
He was my dude. That was my dude.
It's like the underdog back against the wall. This dude shouldn't be in the NBA. He's going out there getting buckets and playing with that swagger and bravado and things like that. So I respected that a great deal. But I missed those matchups. I missed those rivalries. Like, we expected that every single year. We knew we were going to see Pacers and Knicks. We knew they were going to go at it. We knew it was going to be a great series. Now, I feel you. Yeah. Oh man, what's that rivalry now? And like, who can we look forward to seeing again and again?
And you know what the thing is that hurts that is because the culture's changed so much where people are shifting teams all the time. Yeah. So you're not really going to get those rivalries where, Reggie Miller comes up in Indiana and Patrick Ewing comes up with the Knicks. And then you got the Bulls stay, where they are, Jordan and Pippen. You're not getting that so much more. Maybe you're getting it with certain players like Westbrook and Durant, but you're not really getting that with teams anymore.
I miss that, though. I'm with Mike in that I miss that.
I agree.
Yeah. I remember as a kid, the regular season games, if the Knicks were playing the Pacers, it was like circle on my calendar.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was all
man.
hyped.
Sunday afternoon, man.
Yeah, and
Sitting
you-
in front of the TV,
Yeah,
man.
and you would just, even whether it was home at the Garden or the Knicks were going to Market Square, and I just remember watching this, like the Pacer fans were like, Market Square, I haven't been there, but I heard how good that arena was, where it was really on top of, the crowd was really on top of the players,
Yep.
and just seeing that energy on the other side was like, it was dope. Those road games were dope watching it, and I'm sure you felt the same way. The Pacers
Oh,
coming
man,
to New York.
the Oregon, man, yeah, man. It just, yeah.
You just remember that stuff
Just
as a
remember
kid.
that stuff,
Yeah.
man. The NBA on NBC theme, it was just, everything was just magical.
We
back
sound,
then.
we
I used
sound
to like
old.
the
We sound
music.
old talking about the good old days.
I used to like the music, the NBA on NBC music.
Yeah, that's yeah, man. Get goosebumps every time I hear
Yeah,
it.
even though I was really young when that happened. not to bring that up.
Shut up, man. So, Mike, one of the things I think that's interesting about what you do is you still are doing a radio show that's in Indiana, but you're doing
Yeah.
it while here in New York.
Yeah.
How often are you on, number one, and how was the process of doing that?
Yeah, so it's Monday through Friday. It's 10 a.m. to noon, and I've got a co-host there in Indianapolis, which makes it easier. And so with the season, there may be times where I have to maybe miss a half hour or miss, a little section of time if I have shoot around or something like that I need to be present for.
Right.
But for the most part, it's easy. If it was a 3-hour afternoon show, I probably wouldn't be able to do it. But 10 a.m. to noon, it's not really conflicting with a whole lot. And it's just like chatting with your boys. It's like doing this and,
Right.
and just keeping it going. So I didn't want to give that up. I've got family in Indianapolis. They can still hear my voice. So my grandparents, they still listen, on a regular basis. My mom
Nice.
gets to hear my voice. So it's easy. It's easy and it's fun. And I still have that little bit of that connection there,
Have you gone back to Indianapolis since leaving for
Oh
Brooklyn?
yeah.
I hope
I'll
so.
go
His
here.
mom
and
wouldn't
yeah,
be
gotta
happy.
check in. Yeah, they'll get on me. They'll get on me in a heartbeat. So
Right.
yeah, no, I go out there, check on them, see how they're doing.
Yeah.
For sure.
How obviously, even though you're away, obviously, there's so much way we can connect into sports and information.
Yeah.
You're still heavy into the Indianapolis sports scene, so staying on what's going on with the Colts and the
Yeah.
Pacers and everything, and like you're still very connected there.
Yeah, you know what? If I wasn't, then I couldn't do the radio show. So I kind of have to stay on top of the Colts. If I go on there and I talk about a dude who's already left or they cut or I'm not that knowledgeable or whatnot, they'll
Right.
kick me off the
Like,
end of
get this
heartbeat.
guy
Yeah,
out
get
of
this dude out of here. You know what I mean? So and it's the same thing with the Nets and things. So I got to make sure that everybody that I work for, they feel like I'm giving them their undivided attention. So with the Nets, with YES Network, I got to make sure that they feel when I'm doing a Yankee broadcast during the summer or when the Nets season comes up, I'm working so hard that they feel like they have my undivided attention, and the same thing with the with the radio show.
What was that adjustment period like to Brooklyn? Because you kind of mentioned this before, but I mean,
Yeah.
I would imagine, I've never been to Indianapolis yet,
Yeah.
but I would imagine that Indianapolis and Brooklyn are very different.
Yeah, but you know what? I wasn't like isolated. I didn't stay in Indianapolis. I traveled. I saw the world. You know what I mean? I got out. I saw things, and I loved the New York vibe before I made the decision to move out here. And so I headed down to New York, L.A., Miami. Like those are the spots. Like, yo, my agent, hey, if the opportunity comes up here, this would be amazing. And then I visited. Miami was third on the list because there's more opportunities in L.A. and New York.
Right.
But I visited L.A. and New York within a week of each other. I was in L.A. to get away for vacation, and then I came to an art show in New York, and it was within like 3 or 4 days of each other. And it was after that I was like, nah, it's got to be New York. It's got to be New York.
Make
And
the
so
right
it's
choice.
it's the pace, it's the hustle, it's the just the culture. You know what I mean? L.A. feels like a vacation. I like going there to recharge my batteries.
Yeah.
But I like living. I really love living in New York.
I know Net fans really like you.
Oh,
You know,
I hope so. So yeah.
I know that
Yeah,
for a
like-
fact. They'll be excited when this goes out.
Yeah, and I want to
Oh, yeah.
and I want to grow. I want to grow with it. You know what I mean? The team is on the rise, and next summer is massive. And so, to be a part of that, a few down years on the rise, and then to see it come full circle, man, it'd be fun to be a part of that. So I don't want to go anywhere
Right.
anytime
What
soon.
was it like for you? Because you did radio and you had any previous sideline experience? Just want to make sure.
No sideline experience. no.
Before, so that's why I wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
Not previously having sideline experience, and it's a little bit of a different animal. Although I think if you're good broadcasting, you'll be fine anyway.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
But what was it like? Transitioning to that to now having to do pregame hits, being a shoot around stick, that kind of thing.
Yeah, you know what? It was all exciting, man. It was just so much off of my plate coming from Indianapolis that when I came here, man, I was just so excited. Whatever they needed me to do, I was going to be all over it. And I've been doing this, been doing it for a while. A lot of it is memorization. A lot of it is homework. The big difference was I got the job in September, moved out here in October, and by that point, the preseason was already rolling. So I didn't get a good enough time to really like get ingrained in the community, visit with the players. It was like first regular season game. It's like, how you doing? I'm Michael. That's, you know what I mean? And you really want training camp, media day, all this other type of stuff to get to know these guys. So that was probably the biggest transition. It was getting to know the guys on the fly, establishing that trust, because they don't know who I am. You have a rough game. It's like, hey, how you doing? What happened tonight? Who are you?
Have you
know what I mean?
What is the most awkward encounter you've had in a similar situation like that? Or, you had to go up to a player after the game because, you're TV and you have to get.
You have to.
Especially like Paul George, for example. If he has a rough night or they lose a big playoff game, that's that one.
Right. Paul was actually real chill about the whole thing. There were a couple of times where he was upset, but there really wasn't a signature moment with him. Roy Hibbert, toward the end of his time, got real feisty with the media. And it was a case where he started talking a big game, and then when he couldn't back it up on the court, we have to talk about that. Like, bro, you said you were going to do this, and you calling guys out for that.
Right.
And you got a stat line of 2, 4, and 2. What do you what really happened out there? And then he got real hot. So he probably
knew the end was near. He probably did. And I liked Roy Hibbert.
So did I.
I liked him in Georgetown. You know what I mean? Like, I like
but you got what Mike is trying to say too is like, just in life, if you're gonna talk, you got to back it up.
You have to. You got to back it up, and you can't be surprised if you get asked about it or you get called out. So you can't be surprised.
You got to be able to face those consequences, if you want to call it that, after the fact.
Right.
What do you like? Do you prefer doing sideline stuff at home or on the road? Is there anything crazy thing the fans say to you on the road?
Oh, you know what? As the season went along, again, everything was so new this season. So we do this game in the second quarter, I think. Who am I?
Who am I? Yeah.
And so I didn't know what I really didn't know what Who Am I was about. They were telling me about it kind of in the preseason, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever. It's just some cute little game. I did not realize how serious they take this thing. Like, this is
Ryan Rucco.
Really? Rucco, like
Rucco's all in on that.
Is like all about that. Like it's like it's mid-August. And I'm telling you right now, I don't know where he is, but he's probably studying for Who Am I for next season. Wherever he is right now, he's probably studying.
Didn't he win last year?
So he won, and he was so hyped. It was bananas. It was a great moment. It was a great moment on it. But he's gonna brag about that throughout the whole season. He was talking trash.
Your record was not that good, right?
Was that?
Your record wasn't that good.
It started off poor, which is expected.
And then I saw you started cutting.
The most embarrassing thing was, so the first game was against Indiana.
Right.
And
that's right.
The first question was on Who Am I was, this is my second NBA team. And then I forget what the second clue was. And then I thought about it. I was like, oh, that's me, Michael. And I said my name. So I got it. But I needed the third clue to know that it was me in the Who Am I game. I was the answer. I didn't even realize it. So that gives you an idea just how bad I was in the early going. I picked it up mid-season, and then I kind of tape it off at the end. Right. So it was fun. But I didn't realize how big it was. But you were asking home away.
Yeah. Because the reason I asked that was because people can see you now, whether it's League Pass or fans from all around the country can know who you are. So they get to arena, they're like, oh, that's Michael Grady, because I seen him on the net game or that broadcast. Right.
So Atlanta, it's not a really good seat in Atlanta. We like sitting in the corner in Atlanta. And somebody leaned over the railing and was like, yo, Michael Grady. I was like, yeah. He's like, hey, man, love your work, man. You're doing a great job on YES. You got to step it up on Who Am I, though.
Damn.
Man, it happened twice in Atlanta.
It
happened twice in Atlanta. It happened
twice.
First visit, it was a white cat set it over the bar, and then another time I was visiting with one of the players. It may have been DeMario Carroll's family or whatnot. Okay. And I was walking back, and it was this black dude who was real nice. Like, hey, man, what's up, brother, man? Hey, man. Who am I, man? You got to, come on, man. I'm pulling for you, bro. I'm pulling for you. I was like, this game is serious. So, I'm going to be ready. I got to be ready for next season.
Are you going to start studying?
I'm going to start studying. I'm going to start studying. I'm going to start studying. It's funny, though, because there's just so much that you have to pay attention to, but you got to take that seriously, man. Irons 1-1, Sarah Kustak's 1-1.
Yeah.
Brooks just got his.
I think Sarah won it last season.
Yeah. Season before. So I got to pick it up.
So you got to step it up.
I got to step it up, man.
If you come back on here next time, I'm going to be like, yo, what's up with that record?
What's up? Yeah, and I can't Roy Hibbert you. I got to be straight up. I got to be.
See, Mike, that's how you know Mike's a good broadcast. He was able to bring it back.
Yeah.
He was able to bring it back.
Full circle.
You know what?
First segment.
I can respect that you won't be Roy Hibberting me.
Nah. No, not
All right,
at
so
all. Not at all.
we're going to take our first break. When we come back, we're going to talk to Mike about some hip-hop stuff because we knew he was coming
Per
on.
request.
Per request. Mike asked to talk
This is going to be the
music.
rest of the show right here.
Yeah, Mike asked to talk music because he saw a tweet before he came on from somebody who was not happy about something we talked about last week. We'll get into that. We'll get into that when we come back on the Ain't Hard to Tell podcast. Listeners, you know sometimes how it can be hard just to get from point A to point B. Now, when I have to get anywhere and I don't want to deal with the hassle of public transportation, it ain't hard to tell how I get around. I always make sure to use the best car service app in the game. I'm talking about Lyft. Lyft offers rides in minutes. All you have to do is download the Lyft app, request a ride, and you will be on your way quickly. Lyft is all about happy riders and happy drivers. Take a ride with them and you'll see why 9 out of 10 rides end up with a 5-star rating. Lyft always has amazing offers for new customers, and I'm here to tell our listeners about a great offer today. Lyft is currently offering free ride credit to Ain't Hard to Tell listeners. If you are new to Lyft, then you are eligible, and getting your credit is easy. All you have to do is download the app and use the promo code AHTTPOD to unlock your free credit today. Ain't hard to tell who has the best car app service, so use the code today and ride out loud with Lyft. All right, welcome back to Ain't Hard to Tell podcast, episode 38. Our guest is Michael Grady. He is the sideline reporter for the Brooklyn Nets. You can catch him on the YES Network. And Mike, like us, part of the things that we talk about on this show, we are big fans of music.
Yeah.
Particularly hip-hop, but all genres of music.
Yeah.
So we're going to kick you off with this. What are you listening to right now?
It's a playlist of certain songs from albums that have come out in the last couple months.
Okay.
And so it's been a really good summer for hip hop. You know, I think I think whether or not you think the quality is amazing or not, the fact that guys are putting out stuff, and the beef with Push and Drake, I like that because it Push couldn't say what he said on the album if the album was whack. Like Push said, okay, I'm calling this dude out. This album has got to be dope.
Yeah.
And then Drake, you know, okay, I can't come out with something that's weak, whether or not you vibe with Drake or not, whatever. The fact that it's like, okay, dude, this dude's coming at my neck. I gotta come really strong on this.
Right.
And so I like competition in hip hop. I like that feeling of I have to do something that's amazing.
I agree.
Or you know what I mean? And pushing the boundaries as opposed to I want another check. Let me just put some stuff out there.
Which is what the majority of people are doing.
Exactly. Exactly. So it's a playlist, and I don't want to leave anybody out, but it's got songs from Daytona on there. What Ye did, you know, in the month of June or whatever it was strong. J. Cole was a little bit before that, but he's certainly on there. Jay, combination of stuff, man. It's been a good summer.
Okay,
it's been a good summer.
So let me ask you this:
Astro World was the most recent one.
I have not listened to that. I'm not a Travis Scott fan.
It's different.
So it's funny because my sister-in-law was like, "You got to listen to it." So I was like, I might give it a shot.
No, you don't. You don't.
You got a Mos Def shirt on, so no, it's probably not your. It's probably not your speed. It's not your.
He totally prejudged my hip hop.
No,
it's Black Star T-shirt. He was like,
if you rocking a Mos Def T-shirt, you probably not vibing with that.
You know what's funny? Like, hey, sometimes some prejudgments are pretty accurate. I feel like that's pretty accurate. So I'm not like I'm offended by that or anything.
Yeah, because I'm with you because especially if you're a fan of lyricism, and that's why I'm a big. And so Travis Scott's not a. It's a vibe. It's a. Who's another one?
Like
came
vibe
out.
Music?
Yeah, it's my man came out the same. He came out the same day as Daytona. A$AP Rocky.
A$AP Rocky.
So A$AP Rocky, like A$AP's he's not a lyricist, but it's a vibe when you listen to it. You know what I mean? It's like just the music, the production, that type of stuff. It's a vibe.
I feel like
Travis same way.
I feel like there's something to be said with certain songs that are a vibe, but you know some of the things they're saying are like highly problematic. Not that they are, but I'm saying like there are certain songs where you get all the Lils. They come out with new music.
Well, like Migos was like that with Bad and Bougie, right? Like I think that song was like a great vibe But like,
Yeah.
But when you
somehow
actually listen to
Yeah,
what they're
it's-
yeah,
saying,
you're
I'm
like, yo,
like,
it's real problematic. But I'm like, yo, but I like it though. Like,
That's what I'm saying. You just block all that.
no,
you know?
I fight that. I'm like, no, I'm not. I don't have a single Migos, Kanye West. I can't even think. These type of dudes. I don't have a single song of theirs on my
on a playlist, right?
On my no.
I mean,
Yeah.
and it's cool. You said this. You think it's been a pretty good summer for hip hop.
Yeah.
Do you have a early album of the year or album that you really like so far?
I really felt like Daytona was real strong, man. In terms of like message and the vibe, I really like J. Cole's
KOD.
record.
Mhm.
Yeah, I felt like that was really strong. But I mean, Push is like 41, man. It was 41 years old, man.
Nah,
And-
his album was strong.
And
So is
the
Royce the
production was
5'9".
strong, and his lyricism was. I mean, yeah, this is a strong couple months for old dudes. You know what I mean? From J Rock to Push.
J-Rock, yeah.
Again, again,
J-Rock's
Ye's month was
J-Rock's
strong.
not old, right?
He's been in the game for a minute.
But
I'll
yeah,
put it that
yeah.
way.
How old is J Rock?
He's just like early 30s. All right.
Okay.
We have the
Oh,
power of Wikipedia.
that's old in today's
In hip hop.
in hip hop today.
33.
33. Yeah, he's
Okay.
But
yeah,
it's
he's
true.
old-
He has
he's
been
an old
around
cat.
like 10. You know what I mean? Like the what was it?
Yeah.
All My Life with Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
I remember watching
Right.
that music video in like 2008.
Yeah,
you know,
Yeah.
he's been around.
Yeah.
for
he
a minute.
he was like first out of TDE, which
Right.
is
Yeah.
why everyone's like trying to give him his respect now.
Right,
Yeah.
right. J. Cole's not an old cat either. You know what I mean? But he's schooling.
also 33,
Who's
I
he
think.
schooling? Lil Pump.
Lil
is-
Pump.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Lil Pump at the end of the
Lil
thing.
Pump
You know
got
what
an
I
album
mean?
coming out.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So like J. Cole's like an old head. you know. So no, so there was I say Daytona's up there. But there's
Okay.
a lot of good stuff.
Nah, they're definitely.
You gonna listen to that Lil Pump album, Dex? It's called Harvard Dropout. People actually think he dropped out of Harvard when he's turning 18, like in a week.
So why is it
can't
called
get rid of
Harvard
it.
Dropout? I don't get it. Then.
Because you can do whatever you want now. That's why.
So your album titles don't have to mean anything.
No,
Okay.
I thought we were past this. Like,
Mike, I don't know if you thought I was going to say something about that.
let me ask you something. Nicki Minaj just dropped the album.
I listened to it last night.
The hell?
I did. I did. So I was traveling last week, and
Oh, that's your excuse?
no. Hold on.
No offense, but
No,
like, I mean,
I'm about to tell this. About to explain why.
I mean, I like Chun Li.
I was
but
traveling last week. My fiance's sister was like, "Oh, you need to check out this one song on the Nicki Minaj album." So when I dropped off this rental car at the airport last night, and I was coming back home, "Your Barbie Dreams," which is a nice flip on Biggie's Dreams, and I like it.
I
actually
heard,
like
I
it.
heard it's a good song. I haven't heard.
It's
the
good.
song.
I like the song.
It's worth
All right.
listening, yeah.
So I listened to about the first 3 tracks in the car, and then I was taking an Uber home, listened to some more, and on the train ride went to Coney Island last night, came back home, was listening to the rest. Do you want my thoughts on the album? Does anybody care?
Yes.
Want to know what I think about the album?
Yeah.
First couple of tracks past Barbie Dreams, solid, not bad. End of the album, it was all noise. At that point, I was just like, everything sounded the same.
I was
Yeah.
waiting for that part.
I didn't care anymore. It was, and here's what made me mad. A couple months ago, Nicki Minaj comes out and says, "Hey, doing this album, it's not going to be heavily trap influenced. It's going to be a lot more boom bap. I'm from New York."
And then
Gonna
Chun
have
Li
that
came
sound.
out, which was a boom
Was like
bap
that?
song. Yeah.
95% of this album is trap.
So it's the same.
And there's nothing against
All
a trap sound. I just thought there could be more diversity in sound, and there wasn't. I'm a little disappointed. I don't know if I'm disappointed. Why am I saying that? I'm not disappointed in that.
Did you
listen?
I want to see. I listened to it on the way here, and
So don't judge me.
Yeah, no, and you know,
I'm
because I thought
surprised you listened to it.
I thought it might come up, and I was like, let me give it a quick listen
Man,
while
this
I'm on
man-
my way. I
this
thought
man
it might
came
come
prepared.
up.
came
And
prepared.
Well, I didn't listen to that album
nah, I just I was the same way. It was a song or two after Barbie Dreams. I was like, oh, okay, I'm vibing with it, and she's giving that that Nicki flow that caught everybody's attention in the first place, and then I just tuned out. The music's playing, but I really don't care what's being said. It's nothing that's really grabbing my attention. The production really wasn't grabbing my attention or anything like that. And so I was done. And
Did
so
you make it all the way through 19 tracks?
I'm disappointed. What's that?
It's
Did you make it all the
19
way through
tracks.
It's
tracks?
yeah.
That's another thing.
And
You know how I feel
and it's-
about that.
Yeah, 19 and
Nah,
like,
if you make a
without
song,
skits.
it-
you know.
oh, God.
Yeah.
If you make an album that's that long, it has to deliver. Like, the
Did
way
you-
the
did you
way
make it
voice,
through,
the
Mike,
way
or you
Book of
just-
Ryan did. The way Book of Ryan
Right.
did.
No, the commute was a little bit shorter than what I thought it was going to be, so I didn't make it to the finish. But nah, it didn't do anything for me. And so, and from a disappointed standpoint, I feel like all the women are going at each other, like
Yeah.
Cardi and Nicki and So I want to see a female, hip hop artist really do something dope. You know what I mean? And
Well, people would throw Cardi B in your face after you say that. So that you say what?
it's hype. It's not.
I'm
And
with you.
here's the thing. I like Cardi.
I do too.
I like Cardi. I like her vibe. I like
Somewhat.
her energy. All of that.
Yeah.
But nah, the album,
It's okay. Like it's
I've
it's
listened
okay.
to it, I think, twice, and I haven't never revisited it.
Nah.
You said something. I'm going to save this for the extra. We're going to do an extra on this podcast.
Yep.
Mike's going to sit in with us. But there's an artist. You said you would like to see a woman do something really dope in
Yeah,
hip hop.
I know where you're going.
And there's this artist out right now
Yes,
who
I
I'm
know where you're
really
going.
feeling, and I think she might be the one.
Okay.
I have not.
Wait, do I know where you're going?
I don't know if you know where I'm
Uh-oh.
going. You might be lost. I think that I've not heard a woman spit this good, and she could sing, since Lauryn Hill. This is very high praise.
That's
I'm
the
giving.
standard. That's
That's
the
the
standard
standard.
right there. And that's
And I want to further it by saying this: regardless of gender, I have not been this excited about somebody since J. Cole and Kendrick. That's how good I think this person is right now that I've
okay.
heard.
Who is she?
She's an artist called Chika. She's from Alabama. She is now in
From Bama?
Yeah,
she's now in New York. She did an appearance on Funkmaster Flex to a freestyle about 2 months ago, maybe 2.5
Okay.
months ago. And what she does is she's on Instagram and Twitter, and she posts these videos rapping over all these beats that come out now. She is ill. Y'all need to check her out.
Chika.
Chica.
Chika,
I'm on it.
Chika. If you say you like lyricism, Mike, I know how you feel. I know what you like. She's dope.
Because I was
And
gonna
you
say-
know me, I'm not on the hype train.
I thought you were gonna go Rhapsody.
No,
That's why I
no,
was like-
Rhapsody's
That's
already
what
out, and
Rhapsody,
I love Rhapsody, and I'm actually gonna say this. I think this chick could be better than Rhapsody, and I think Rhapsody's the illest.
I
as far
was
as
just,
women right now.
I was just having, I haven't had a chance to have like a long conversation about this, but I was asking, I was
Yeah.
thinking about, who if a female was coming out with a double album in the same way as Drake, like whose would be the dopest? Like go back 20 years.
We're
You
talking
already brought
any-
along anybody. You could pick anybody.
Any woman
Any
that's
woman,
rapped.
and to come out with a successful double album just like Drake's did, singing and rapping.
To me, it's only Lauren.
It's only Lauren.
Only Lauren. I
It's
don't
only
know.
Lauren.
I mean, I could also say
I
Queen
think
Latifah.
Beyonce. I think Beyonce's done some stuff.
Oh, we're talking about not just rapping. We're talking about.
It's again, Drake's album was singing
One was
and
rapping.
one was
Okay,
rapping.
so
Do
you
I
got.
want to hear Beyonce rap for a whole? I love Beyonce.
Well,
And I'm just saying, Beyonce like showed a little bit in that
On
in
the
that
Carter album.
on that last little album.
Yeah.
Do I think Beyonce could do it? Yes,
I'd
absolutely.
still pick Lauren. I mean, I'd still pick.
I think Lauren will do it better, but I think
yeah,
Beyonce could do it.
But would Lauren
Lauren
show
was-
up for her concerts?
Hey, man, I got my money back. I went to see her at the House of Blues in Chicago a handful of years ago, and yeah, man. So I drove up. Yeah, so I drove up from Indy, and I didn't know the story about Lauryn Hill showing up late. And so I go and I had the
legend.
girl I was with at the time, had my little cousin with me. We were all going out there and excited, And like I love Lauryn to death.
Me too.
Like to death. And
That album is
look,
fire.
Nicki can flow. Cardi's got some flow. Lil' Kim was really good. Lauryn Hill
Agreed.
was such an unbelievable lyricist.
Agreed.
Like she's unbelievable
Yeah.
and slaughtered everybody.
Yeah.
So love Lauryn Hill. So I'm like, okay, let's go out there. We're gonna see this concert. Driving 3 hours out there. I had to do the radio show the next day too, so I got to be up at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
The show was supposed to start at maybe like 8 o'clock or 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, something like that. So I knew I was gonna be getting home late. So I get out there and we vibing, and the DJ's going, DJ's playing. It's getting past time. DJ's still playing. And
What
we
time?
like,
What time?
Where is
What
she
time we at
It's
now?
like, nah, it's like, so let's say it started at 8.
All right.
9 o'clock comes, nothing. And she didn't have an opening act. It was just Lauryn. Like it was a DJ playing, and then it was supposed to be Lauryn. 8 o'clock she was supposed to start. 8 o'clock passed, nothing. 9 o'clock passed, nothing. 10 o'clock passes, nothing. Fam, it's getting close to like 11 o'clock.
You got 3 hours to go back to Indy.
And I got a 3-hour drive back to Indy. I gotta wake up and do the radio show,
Yeah.
And so it's like it's starting to get like close to midnight, and then Lauryn comes out there, and she had the nerve to say,
Uh-oh.
"How's everybody doing out there tonight? How's everybody? What's everybody doing?
We've been waiting for you.
A dude in the crowd yelled, "How are we doing? Bleep, you late." She heard it, stopped the concert, and escorted dude out. Now, at the time, I didn't realize she, called for the cops, get this dude out of there because he called out her name or whatever. And so I didn't realize at the time that she didn't really have the license to do songs from the Miseducation Lauryn Hill. So the concert starts.
Okay. Wow.
Concert starts, and she's doing these songs we've never heard before. Not even the unplugged stuff. Like,
Not even off the unplugged stuff.
Different stuff. And we're like,
trying to catch the vibe.
yeah, like, I don't know this song. I want to.
You're just kind of like,
What? And so
not in your head.
People started leaving in droves, and there was like a line, and people got their money. I got my money back that night, and then headed out.
So,
wow.
So wait.
What year was this?
Oh man, I gotta check my Instagram. It was a handful of years ago.
All right. I need to know what era of Lauryn Hill missing shows this was.
So two things.
She was real defiant about it too. Like she was really telling. She was telling the crowd off, like, you ain't got kids, you ain't in my life. She was going on.
Right before you go, Dexter.
I got kids, but I still mean I got a kid, but I still got to show up to work on time.
Remember a couple years ago when Nas and Lauryn Hill were supposed to go on tour together?
Yeah,
or whatever it was, and people were joking.
That was last summer, actually.
People were joking that this is gonna be a Nas tour then. Yeah. Because Lauryn Hill's never gonna show up.
I remember because Nick Grant was hoping.
We were talking about, you're gonna get tickets.
I was strongly considering it just as much, and Mike and I seem to be on the same wavelength. This. I'm a huge fan of Miseducation. Anybody knows me? That's one of my favorite albums ever.
It's one of the best albums ever.
Yeah.
And so this year was the 20th anniversary, right? So the tour came out. My best friend, he ends up going. I found out he went with his fiance, and I asked him. I saw him a couple weeks ago because I was thinking about going, but I was like, I didn't want Mike's situation. Like I didn't want Mike's situation, and I'm gonna say this:
you don't know if you're gonna get your money back all the time.
And to put like this, I have a daughter, and if me and my fiance we go, like we got to pay for childcare. I'm not trying to pay for extra time when you know what I'm saying.
Right.
You know what I mean?
She's coming out, right?
Right. So I don't know if she's coming out. So I didn't go. People told me it was good, and she was on time. But I have a story similar to Mike. Although I don't think it's as grave as Mike's situation because Mike had to drive 3 hours back to Indianapolis.
Right.
I got to see Lauryn Hill for the first time in my life at Afropunk here in Brooklyn a couple years ago.
Okay.
And Afropunk, if anybody knows, is done in a public park, so they have to be very on time with how the artists come for their sets because there's only a certain time they can perform in the park or there'll be a noise complaint to people in the neighborhood in Fort Greene. So she wasn't headlining. Grace Jones was headlining, but Lauryn was right before Grace Jones. Lauryn comes on the stage late, right?
How late?
She was probably 45 minutes past when her set was supposed to start, right? So I think she only had 90 minutes. So because she was 45 minutes past, she keeps going. Afropunk, handling it the way that they should do, if you go past a certain time, they're going to tell you you've got to go. But the way she didn't want to go. Somebody came between one of the songs, came up on the stage, was like, look, Lauryn, you got to go. Lauryn, I was far away, so I couldn't really tell, but you could tell Lauryn kind of told her no. So Lauryn kept going. So what did Afropunk do? They cut off the lights and they cut off her music. What does Lauryn keep doing? She tells her band to keep playing, and they're still playing.
Man.
Meanwhile, they were doing stuff off of Miseducation, but they were doing it with sort of a different rendition, a different sound. So it wasn't in the authentic way that you know it.
Yeah.
And I just was disappointed at some point. I wasn't vibing to the songs. I just sat down because it's open. It's like a festival. So I just sat down. I'm like, this was disappointing. Imagine you waited to hear this person all this time, right? And then they're late. I still don't think it's as bad as Mike because Mike had to drive home.
No, it's just you wanted to see Lauryn and you didn't see Lauryn. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you saw her, but it's like, nah, that's not.
And it sucks because I don't trust going to see her now.
It's like I was gonna ask you. It's like
I don't trust her.
You know how people say you can't meet your idols. That's one of those
Well,
where.
Oh man.
Like, would you go to a show now?
She can do her music now, and if the word is she's showing up on time, then yeah, I'd go check it out.
I don't know if the word's ever gonna be that she's showing up on time.
Yeah, if she's but
apparently
45 minutes is an improvement, and then you said how long ago was it?
When was it?
Because that's
45 minutes. 45 minutes. I went. That was 3 years ago. And then
3 years ago?
When my boy just went, he said that she was on time.
The Nas Lauryn Hill
was last year.
Last year.
Okay.
Last
I did
year
not
was
even go.
I don't know. I don't know why I didn't go. I think because I was probably still scared. That's it.
I remember asking you, be like, yo, you going to get tickets? I'm like, man, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I gotta ask people. Yeah,
I wouldn't do it.
You got to do your research. So we got to get your money back.
You got to be on time. Cause
you got your money back, right?
Oh, yeah, I got my money back.
Because you know, with a lot of times with celebrities and with people, like, they're going to be late to shows. You understand. You give them courtesy. But
3 hours, fam.
Yeah.
And what, like, I had the Jay and Beyonce concert I was at last week that got delayed because of thunderstorm.
Yeah.
So they ended up not starting maybe like 2 hours, 15 minutes later. But
they were there.
They were there.
They were there.
They were there. It had nothing to do with that. It was rain. What are you gonna do?
They do a good show too, by the way.
I
haven't seen this run. I saw them twice on the first one. I saw them in Cincinnati and I saw them in Paris. And they amazing show, man.
Yeah, man. Show was dope. It was really dope.
I gotta find I gotta check them out.
Yeah, it was dope. It was really dope. All right, we'll talk some more about that. We'll take one more break. When we come back, we'll talk about some more stuff in hip hop. Any other crazy stories? We'll figure some more stuff to talk about when we come back on Ain't Hard to Tell podcast. It ain't hard to tell where to get the latest merchandise from Backpack Broadcasting. Gear is now available via TeePublic. Visit the Backpack Broadcasting TeePublic online store to get shirts, hoodies, mugs, and phone cases. Represent your favorite Backpack Broadcasting shows, including the Sports Walk, Sideline Stories, and of course, the Ain't Hard to Tell podcast. Check out the special offers for our podcast listeners at http://t.pub/lic/backpack. Get in the game with your official Backpack Broadcasting gear today. Our guest, Michael Grady, sideline reporter for the Brooklyn Nets for the YES Network. He's here with us on the Ain't Hard to Tell podcast. Dexter, Henry, Brian, Fonseca.
You know, we still have to pick. We still have to pick a 38. We never got around to doing that.
Oh, we did. I don't think we did it. You know what? That list sucks.
I mean, yo.
Man, you know what? Just because I said, when I said it, I'm going to go with Kwame Brown.
You're going to go finally.
Because it evoked
I've been trying to get Kwame Brown for like 3 numbers.
It evoked an emotion out of me, and I was just like, ugh.
What was the emotion? No, the NBA history. The NBA history of the number 38 is pretty bad. No former Indiana Pacers for what it's worth.
Yeah,
you have Kwame Brown 2 years in Detroit. You got Anthony Cook 1 year in Portland. You got Jeff Cross.
Who?
Jeff Cross.
Don't even remember him.
I thought he was the dude that punched somebody, but that's Keith Cross, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Who's Jeff Cross?
I don't know. Some dude
from
86. Some dude named Vitor, whatever. He was with the Celtics a few years ago. Reggie Hearn. Some other dude, Ron Knight, Mikey Moore 1 year, and Dale Wilkinson.
Mikey Moore playing where?
Atlanta.
Okay.
Not the Nets.
Now he played for the Nets, Sacramento. I know he played Nets in Sacramento. He's a good
athletic. And then baseball, there's Kurt Schilling, but you know we ain't trying to.
Nope. All right, we'll go with Kwame Brown. You cool with it? Mike, you cool with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's good.
I'll go with whatever.
I can't wait to text Matt that, be like, yo, on the artwork, this is what we're going with. He's gonna be like, are you serious? If he even knows who Kwame Brown is, I don't know.
He should. I hope so.
I hope so too.
I
thought he was gonna be pretty good at one point.
So, Mike, we'll talk a little bit more hip hop with you. One of the last couple episodes we spoke about the 5 mic album rating in the source.
Yeah. That was a good convo, man.
Yeah,
that was,
and like when that mattered.
Did it bring you back?
I don't think. Yeah, because I don't think people realize, man. It was the Bible, like for real. It was, that's how you knew whether an album was a good listen or not. And then it added to what we were talking about earlier, the competition element. You know what I mean? For those who are conscious of that, it's like, nah, I mean, to have a 5 mic album in the source, that means something. And so I got to put something special out, you know? So Jay calls out a whole bunch of dudes, going back to the Pusha and Dre conversation. Jay calls out, Mobb Deep calls out Nas, you know what I mean? And he's making the Blueprint.
Yeah.
And Blueprint's 5 mics. It's like, oh, man, that's dope. So Nas is working on his album. It's like, Nas, you got to bring it, son. You got to bring it. He drops Stillmatic. It's a 5 mic album. That was an amazing time for him.
It was an amazing time.
How much did sales, like, where they talked about mattered, back then as opposed to now? Like, what was the big difference there? Because now I feel like the focus is definitely shifted towards we got to get numbers, analytics, and things like that, as opposed to let me try to put this out so then Metacritic can give me a 90. You know what I mean?
I still think it mattered then in terms of your braggadocio, right? Like you still Jay was always talking that as much too, but I still think you wanted the commercial success, but you still wanted the clout of being respected as putting
Right.
out a great body of work.
Right. No question. I think that means something. I mean, it meant something, and seeing its demise was really frustrating because that was a big voice in hip hop, and like you said, Benzino, who's
Speaking of the demise.
Do
we want to
Benzino
revisit
played
that?
a big role in that.
Well, he doesn't agree with us.
Yeah.
He's like, really? I'm part of the demise. I'm like, yeah, man.
But he didn't answer my tweet because I called him out for looking for his own. He searched his name to find out. I didn't tag him. For those of you who are confused, we tweeted out a clip of our conversation from the source.
Which
not
Mike
from the
saw.
source,
Like,
but
let's
on
talk
the
music.
source. On
Right.
the source, which
Right.
Dexter said the death of the source to him was when they give The Naked Truth, Lil' Kim's 2005 album before she went to jail, a 5 mic rating, to which Benzino said, really, that's why. And then I called him out for pretty much Twitter searching his own name and looking for his own tweet because I didn't tag him in that. And that was pretty much it.
Yeah, his beef with Eminem killed it, and that was
I was hoping
it
to
was
beef with
petty.
him.
And it was
He don't want this
petty,
smoke.
but it
Yo,
killed,
but he
it
has,
killed the
but
magazine.
you know what's it's crazy because he has like almost 500,000 Twitter followers, and I'm like, there's no way he bought a lot of those. There's no way. There's no way. 500,000 people.
Now he's really gonna come for you.
500,000 people aren't following Benzino in 2018. I'm sorry. Especially when you look him up in the Twitter audit, he only had like 4,000 5 years ago. Like, nah, bro.
Yeah.
What happened in the last 5 years to
He
really
was doing
spike
VH,
him up?
He was doing VH1 or something like that.
Yeah, but
He was
not-
doing-
not-
he
Oh,
was
yeah, you're
doing-
right.
he
He was
doing
doing that.
But
Yeah.
to that level,
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
He's coming at you now.
Come on,
I'm
bro.
I can't wait to cut that clip. He's coming at you. So I mean, so Mike, what do you you talked about obviously how then it matters so much, but like,
Yeah.
do you think that standard is kind of gone in the caring of making a great album, or is it like, hey, I'm hot, let's put out 19 tracks like Nicki Minaj's album, and then we don't care to revisit it?
I think this. I want to see where we go from this summer. I want to see where we go. J. Cole's album was strong. Again, I really like what Push did. There were a lot of really good albums where the quality of the album meant something, and people were judging the quality of the album, and it wasn't just, hey, this guy's throwing something out there. Nah, it was like I want to put something meaningful out there. Anytime Kendrick drops an album, like he doesn't drop songs. He doesn't have a single. It's not an album full of singles. It is a album. You have
Right.
to
Yes.
listen to it from start to finish. And hopefully we're getting closer to that. The game is so deep now with so many different guys and so many different personalities that you're gonna get a mixture. You're gonna get guys who are I'm just putting something out there. I'm gonna have a couple of club records on there, and then I'm good. You know what I mean? As long as these sell and these get so many streams, I'm okay. But I'm with the guys, man, who want to do albums, something that means something that you can always go back and listen to, as opposed to, once those singles run out and you like, I'm so tired of hearing this song, you've got nothing to go back to years from now. You know what I mean? But if you put out a dope album, you can always go back to that.
I hate how it manipulates the sales too, because if you listen to a single like a million times, and all of a sudden,
Yeah, well, that's
the
kind of
album
Drake's.
goes platinum before it even comes out.
Well, that's Drake's logic with the double album. You got 20 whatever tracks, and it's like you going through it. You spending a lot of time listening to Drake's songs.
Yeah.
And that's just adding up in the stream. Oh, you streamed it so many. So it's kind of manipulating the game a little bit.
Yeah. And before we came on for this segment, I brought up Freddie Gibbs because you're from Indiana.
Yeah.
But he's from Gary, which is like kind of the Chicago side. I was surprised that you never heard of him before.
No, I saw him pop up on Tidal not long ago, and so I gave it a little bit of a listen. But I didn't even when I was listening, I didn't know where he was from. But yeah, Gary's another world from Indianapolis. You know what I mean? So
I've heard.
Yeah. It's another world. Hey, much love to GI, but they close to that Chicago area.
Chicago
so.
vibe. What was
Dexter's a big fan.
No, I'm not. I'm not anti. I've been getting into. I listen to some of his older stuff and getting them.
Did you see what I tagged you in on Instagram?
I?
Somebody made like a celebrity
No.
death match type of Freddie Gibbs figure with his song
snap.
playing in the background, and it was just really funny artwork. Apparently, I don't know. It was just funny. What? Is there a problem? I tagged you in it also.
Nobody cares. No, I've listened to some of the stuff. He can rap. I'm not a big fan of
He can
Brian.
rap.
Yeah, he can rap. I mean, there's people who can't rap and they're attempting to rap, but that's a whole nother story.
I mentioned few of them earlier. But
Yes,
okay.
that's a whole
We
other
can
story.
revisit that.
Yeah.
Growing up, because what were you listening to that got you into hip hop? Because there really isn't an Indianapolis rap scene, or I don't know, is
No,
there?
man, I was a big East Coast guy. So I grew up in that East Coast West Coast beef, and I really wasn't feeling the West Coast vibe. I just really liked the New York, the lyricism, that whole thing. And it's funny, I was just having a conversation with a guy, Kevin, not long ago, and he was asking me how I got into radio, and he's like, "Was it your voice?" I was like, voice is a part of it, And I thought of something that I really didn't think about until that moment. And it was, voice is one thing, but it's also, as you guys know as broadcasters, enunciation,
Yes.
articulate, all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And hip hop played an amazing role in that, and I did not realize it until that moment. The lyricism, and to say, there was nowadays with mumble rappers, you know what I mean? You can't understand what these cats are saying. And
Which
if
is why I
I
can't listen to them.
grew up at this time, I probably wouldn't be here right now.
Yeah.
But you pop on,
What would you be doing then?
I'd have a nice voice, but I'd be doing something else.
You be a drug dealer, maybe? Selling these kids pills?
Visualizing the realism of life in actuality.
AZ.
Who's the baddest?
Yes.
A person's status
The
depends
mental
on salary.
Yeah.
Like these guys are using. It's not the cat jumped up. No, these are they're using the vocabulary and they're being articulate so you can understand what they're saying, because they want you to understand what they're saying, because it's meaningful. Like I don't want you to lose sight of what I'm saying here. I want you to hear what I'm saying. What I'm saying is dope. I put in the work in to put this, dope lyric together, and I'm gonna say it clearly so you can hear it. And that me listening to that and reciting it over and over and over again. Come on.
You know what's
Have
crazy?
you heard of
That's
Sky Zoo? Have you heard of Sky Zoo?
No.
Because he's from Brooklyn, and we had him on the podcast a while ago, probably like February-ish. He's somebody you would really like, because he's all about that now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's one of those dudes that's still carrying on that tradition. I was gonna reference
go.
because you brought up the AZ verse. And you said it's not the cat jumped out or whatever, and that brought me to your Curtis Blow impression, which you still have not done on the podcast. Dexter has a great Curtis Blow impression.
I don't know if it's great, and I don't know if I can do a spot.
No, I'm not gonna put you on the spot, but I'm just letting you know that at some point it's gonna come along, and we're gonna clip it, and we're gonna put that all over social media.
Oh, no.
The one thing. Well, Mike bringing up that verse was what two
That's
things.
one of my favorite verses.
Two
ever.
things you said there that I thought was interesting, because now it makes me think about myself and my career and getting into broadcasting, always loving writing. I never thought about that. And then you bringing up that verse to me is crazy, because I love that verse.
Yes.
And it's also off my favorite hip-hop album.
Yeah.
And that's kind of really the album that made me really fall in love with hip-hop. Illmatic, we're talking about.
Yes.
Just learning all the intricacies of the lyrics there.
Dude.
And I don't think about it now, but obviously we use words so much. I'm speaking so much, and we're both on camera, and or Brian as well, too. And you have to be able to either think quickly, flip
Think
things
about
in words.
that. We're coming up in broadcasting. It's like they'll tell you Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, whatever. Unique New York, New York unique. Different little things like that. Fam, that's hip hop. That's like hip hop. And I remember riding on the school bus, and this dude was it was next to me. He had his headphones on, and he was rapping to a Nas song. I don't even remember what Nas song it was, but he was like staying with the lyrics and was just reciting. And I was like watching, dude. I was like, damn, I gotta listen to this song, man. I gotta, and then it's just like challenged me to try, want to keep up with Nas in a verse and be as clear and not mumble through a part, but literally
Be with him.
stay.
I still do that.
Try to stay with him.
yeah.
Dude, it's an exercise. It's
Yep.
literally an exercise. You're exercising your mouth, your lips, your tongue, all that type of stuff. And that's what we're doing in broadcasting. So just thinking about that, man. Same thing with Jay, who want a better step? We don't touch letters, stack cheddars forever, live treacherous, all the etceteras. To the death of us, me and my confidants, we shine, you feel the ambiance.
When I heard
Just
that,
rhyme. Like these are confidants. Yeah, like you know what I mean? Ambiance, all these different things. Like, a young Mike, I don't know what that means, but now I want to look up what it is.
And
so
I
you're
dig that kind of
you're
stuff.
falling in love with words. You're trying to keep pace with him, and so. Yeah, I had the voice, but I was trying to think about how did I get like the articulation, like the enunciation, all that type of stuff. And I had to point to hip hop. Man.
is there an album for you like me where I can point it to either it's Illmatic or from Midnight Marauders. Those are kind of the two albums that for me, like, is there an album for you that made you really fall in love with hip hop? Or one that you was just like, wow. Because Illmatic was that for me. When I heard Nas, it was like, man, I got to listen to this.
I had to, I went back. I had to go back. So when I was growing up, I was in, religious household. And so there was like certain artists that I can listen to. And then on my own, I would like listen to stuff on the radio.
Yeah, I know that.
And then I got to a certain, you feel me? So it got to, and so it got to a certain point where I could kind of like listen to what I wanted to. And then in conversation with people about hip hop, it's like, nah, you got to go back and check this. You got to go back and check that. And so then I went back and listened to records. Illmatic's a big one for sure. Reasonable Doubt. Yep. Jay's my guy, man. Jay's got me through a whole lot, man. He's helped me a big. He's another one. Jay's helped me along the way too about the way Jay just talked, like he knew he was the best, and he talked like he was the best, and it was like the whole confidence thing. And so for me, being a young radio dude, only dude of color in the whole office or whatnot, and I knew that I was talented, but people are looking at me like this dude is like, who is this guy? You know what I mean? And so it's like listening to music that just gave me a bravado, a confidence. I would listen to it before I would go into the office, because I'd walk down the hallways and people wouldn't look at you in the eye. You know what I mean? Like, who is this dude? That type of stuff. Yeah. And so it's like, I don't need you to look at me in the face. Like I just listen to.
I will not lose.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just so. But Biggie also. Biggie was amazing with his wordplay and putting songs together and stuff like that. Really, really good. There's a number of guys, but I would say Nas and Jay are kind of like my big,
Yeah, that's my 1 and 2. Still has been. Probably always. I don't know. Always will be. Kendrick's definitely moving up there.
Kendrick's amazing.
Kendrick's like his third right now.
I mean, he's moved up there for me. I just think
I think when I met you, he was like in your top 10, and now he's like.
Oh, he's definitely my top 5 now. Absolutely.
He's progressively like.
Yeah, he's right.
After the next album, he'll be like 2A.
We'll see. We'll see. I mean, I don't like saying things too early, but we'll see.
What's his best album?
So that's tough for me. I have to say.
Wait. Can I offend you first?
Offend me?
Yes, I saw somebody on.
Does anybody ever say, "Yeah, go ahead, offend me"? Well,
I saw somebody on. This probably won't offend you, but I saw somebody on Twitter recently say, and I want to find who it was because I forgot. That say that To Pimp a Butterfly is average. But it was a white dude, so I don't think he gets the album. So, yeah.
I think their tweet is average.
It's below average.
Below average. Yeah. That was me being nice.
I think, because I'm pretty sure you're of the mindset that that's his best album.
No. That would be wrong. See, here's the thing. No, I think Good Kid, Mad City.
You still think Good Kid? Okay.
I would say. Sorry.
Yes. No.
Here's why. I love To Pimp a Butterfly. I love it's to me. This is the way I look at it. I could see, it's hard for me to put myself, but if I'm a 9, 10, 11-year-old kid that grew up in 2012 and heard Good Kid, Mad City, that is like what Illmatic was for me, listening to that at 10. Okay. In this terms of taking you to a place that's different, the lyricism, the concept. I think it's that good. I think it's 1 through 12. I'm taking out the bonus tracks. I just look at that. It's just really good.
Yeah, you don't like that Mary J. Blige song?
No, but that doesn't count to me. Just 1 through 12 in that song, starting from the intro to Compton, is fantastic. The concept. This is another album I put with Miseducation where the skits never annoy me. I could be playing cleaning my apartment, and I would never be like, oh, I don't want to hear the skits. The skits are so fantastic. It's not a throwaway.
It goes with the flow of the album. Yeah.
To Pimp a Butterfly, also fantastic. I think I might. There's time. Obviously, I'm a jazz fan too, so sonically, I love that album. I love the jazz influence, the samples. I just put it a notch below Good Kid, Mad City. I think they're both classics, but I just put them. I put it a notch below. That's where I put it. I'm gonna. If you ask me, if you said, hey, stranding you on an island, you got to take one Kendrick album with you to go. I'm taking Good Kid, Mad City.
I probably am too. Yeah. Although Section 80 was something I really loved because that came out when I was in high school and I was listening to it my entire senior year.
So young.
What? it always goes back to that.
What do you think, Mike? So you think Good Kid, Mad City?
Oh, Good Kid, Mad City. Yeah, because that was at the beginning. Section 80 is great, but I look at the beginning. was Good Kid, Mad City. Like, commercial success, people knowing who he was, and it was just like, I got to let people know. Like you were saying, one of the artists, you know, Rhapsody or whatnot, her first, her next one's got to be
we were talking
on point,
about
you know
that
what I mean?
Fair, where Layla's Wisdom, her last album, was like, okay, you're here now. And then the next one, the second one on Rock Nation is going to be like, Good Kid, Mad City.
Good Kid, Mad City. And so that's how I feel. And so he hasn't had a bad album yet. And there's this thing in hip hop where you drop your first one and you get everything out. You know what I mean? If you're 20 years old, you've got 20 years you put into this album. And then the second one is maybe,
and a lot of people now don't even make it to that first album.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like they get the single and then that's it.
It's to say that he keeps putting out strong work, you know what I mean, is really incredible. He just keeps challenging himself and taking it to another level. But I'm older than dude, and I've still felt where he was coming from. Like, I don't know the California lifestyle or anything like that.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I felt everything that he was saying, and that the storytelling in there was magnificent. It was just a great album.
That's for that reason is why I kind of compare it in that vein to Illmatic, because I felt like if you weren't from New York, if you listened to Illmatic, it put you in a time capsule, almost the same way even Reasonable Doubt does. It was kind of the beginning of that braggadocio, swagger rap, and you felt Jay. You felt Jay and Nas in those albums, and I felt Kendrick captured that perfectly in an album, telling you the story of his youth, and you just. Anytime I listen to it, I'm like, this is a brilliant. He's taking somebody along for a brilliant ride.
I like rappers who want you to know what they are saying. And if you really don't have a whole lot to say, then you're probably doing and spending a lot of money on production, and that's it. You know what I mean? The only thing we can recite is the hook. Like, that's not what I want to listen to. You know what I mean? On a regular basis. Man. I need some
substance.
Yeah, I agree. I've always said this is probably like 4 dudes that I listen to that have tattoos on their face. That's it. Royce the 5'9", Rick Ross, Davies, maybe Lil Wayne. Maybe.
One thing before we wrap this
Anybody else got tattoos on their face?
Nah, nobody's tattoos on their face here.
All right. No, not here, but I'm saying
I was looking around. I was like,
Game had tattoos on his face.
Okay, so we can take out Lil Wayne and put the Game in there, because I don't really listen to Lil Wayne anymore.
Neither do I.
Speaking of, wait. On that thought, the Game, did you see that he was at the Drew League and got into a fight with one of his teammates?
Yeah.
Is that something
he
that...
apologized.
I don't care. Is that something that you fight in your fight... That's his friend. Like, they're boys. Like, and I get fighting with your friends.
We ain't boys no more after that.
Yeah, in front of all those people, because I fought with my... Growing up, I used to fight a lot, right? So I fought... What? I'm serious. So I grew up... Like, we used to fight a lot, like, over dumb stuff, whatever.
Did you do this with your friends?
No.
I'm like, what?
Were they really friends?
Yeah, y'all really friends?
We was cool back then. Now we grew, we got older and stuff. Anyway, so what I'm saying is the whole thing of him fighting his boy on the same team, I think that's normal, whatever. But to do it in the Drew League, that's not normal. And that's probably not normal for he's like almost 40. So he probably shouldn't be doing that too.
Well, that's where I'm going.
Yeah.
Because
I'm talking about what I used to do that, but I was like 12.
Right. And so there's a different level of judgment there. I feel like Game's too grown for this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, have you ever been in that situation? Like, you've never fought one of your friends? Like, during a basketball game?
No, man. Like, I got into an argument
so
with my friends.
I'm wilding here.
Yeah, you definitely wild.
Definitely wild.
Yeah.
I mean, but you said you did that when you was 12, so I'm looking at that differently.
All right.
If you told me you did it now, like,
the other day,
you know what I'm saying? We can't talk anymore. I don't know.
We went to West 4.
I'm looking at you a whole differently. Like, next time you come to a Nets game, Mike's gonna be looking like, yo, that's that guy to be fighting on basketball courts.
I'm getting old, man. I've lost all energy to knuckle up, man.
I don't have the energy to do that. Like, I don't want to be doing that.
There's another segue. There's another segue that you just opened up. Have you ever wanted to fight somebody in a media room before?
I've been disgusted with people in the media room before.
I have too.
See, I don't have the energy to want to fight anybody. I don't want to.
You never want to be like,
they don't
this
want
game
that.
Is over.
They don't want that smoke, and I don't have the energy to even go there. Nor time.
I don't have.
Plus, I like what I do. I don't want to. Then I'm gonna get kicked out of the media. I like what I do.
Me too. Yeah.
I don't want to do it. And then next thing you know, Mike's got to be telling some stuff. Like, remember that time I saw Dexter in the Nets media room? He threw like the food in somebody's face. Like, nah.
I can't hang around long enough to get riled up to want to knuckle up, man.
See, there you go. Mike's like, yo, I'm in the locker room.
Like
I get those post game stuff.
This
I'm
conversation's
out.
getting real stupid right now. I'm gonna take my cookies and head back to the court, man. I just
which by you saying that tells me you've already met the interesting characters you need to meet around the media. We ain't gonna call them
they're
names.
everywhere.
They're everywhere. All right, man. We want to thank you. Thank you for coming and joining.
Absolutely.
Thank you for coming and joining us. Again, you can check Michael Grady on the YES Network. He will be on the sidelines for the Nets with the YES Network this coming season.
Not a very intricate Twitter name, too. Just at Grady.
Yeah,
You'll find him.
Real simple.
You'll find him.
Real simple. He also, you can check out his show Monday through Fridays on 107.5 FM and 1070 The Fan in Indy. So if you're any transplanted Indianapolis sports fans out there, I'm sure you talk about stuff nationally too. So
no doubt.
They can definitely check you out, man. Thank you for coming on. We hope to have you back.
Yeah.
Talk some more hip hop. Hopefully
Anytime.
it's in an even better state when you come back.
Right.
We
Hopefully.
hope so.
Yeah.
All right. So that's it.
Did we talk enough Nets? Are Net fans going to be
We
upset?
did, but we're going to talk about that in extra. So for those, we're gonna have a little extra thing. So we're going to talk a little Nets with Grady. But we're saving that for those of you who want to watch. You support that through Patreon. We'll get to that in a little bit later.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk a little bit more Grady about that, and you can hear that. But for Brian Fonseca and Michael Grady, I'm Dexter. See y'all next time on the Ain't Hard to Tell podcast.